this is the city of resurrection, and in this video we are going to be transforming the entire city and basically turning it into a simulation of Holy Week. Now, in case you don't know what Holy Week is the week starting on Palm Sunday and leading all the way to Easter Sunday, where basically, it tells the story of how Jesus lived and died and then rose again for us. And so that's what we're going to be doing in this video. We're going to be recreating all of the scenes from the Bible, that are told in that Holy Week. So the first event is Palm Sunday, and that occurs on the Sunday before Easter. So I found this really nice village in my Block Explore North map right here, and I'm going to name the village Resurrection. And what I'm going to do is just put a road through the village and then put some trees around the village. Now, usually with these villages, when I transform them, I massively change all the buildings. But for this one, I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to basically leave all the buildings exactly how they are, because by default, the vanilla Minecraft villages look very much like the biblical villages, that Jesus lived in back in the day. So now what I'm doing is I'm adding all the people in the street who are holding out their palm branches for Jesus to walk by. I'm going to do a little bit of experimenting with the village here as far as just changing a few things. But next we're going to build the donkey, and we're going to build Jesus riding on that donkey. And then what we're going to do is we're going to build, the disciple that is pulling the donkey. And now that is complete, it's time to begin our next scene, which is where the chief priest bribed Judas Iscariot into turning Jesus in. So I built that, and now I'm building the house where Jesus is going to wash his disciples' feet. And you'll see the interior of that where I build, and then you'll see it better in the showcase. So next, now that house is complete, we're going to add another house, and this house is going to be where the Last Supper is held. So these are natural village houses, but I am going to have to do a bit of changing to this house in particular, because I'm going to need to make it a bit bigger and a bit more grand in order for you to be able to actually see the Last Supper in action when you're exploring the map. So, like right here, I am just going to make the house bigger. I did already have all the people set up, so I had to remove them and then re-add them back in. But, like I said, I also made the house a little bit taller, and then I am going to do a lot of experimenting around with the format of the table and where each of the disciples are sitting. So that is the Last Supper completed, and of course, I will show all of you guys this stuff in greater detail in the showcase. This is just the time-lapse of me building the Last Supper. Anyways, next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to build the garden where Jesus prays after the Last Supper. And you can see the disciples that are falling asleep. And one thing about this map is I put storybooks in so you can actually read the entire thing in the showcase. Anyways, now we are building the part where Judas and the chief priests and the soldiers find Jesus in the garden and arrest him. And this is occurring late at night on the Thursday before Easter. In case you did not know that. And you can see where Peter is using a sword as well. And now what we're going to do is we are going to build the part where Peter denies Jesus 3 times. So I do have, the storybook version for all these scenes of the Bible in the lectern, so you can actually read them. But next what we're going to do is we're going to build the part where Pilate orders the execution of Jesus. So I do a lot of experimenting around with this part. What I end up doing is taking a desert temple from a different section of my world and just pasting it right here. And it does take me a moment to get that pasted, but there we go. I'm going to build a pathway through it and build the throne where Pilate is sitting. In case you know, Pontius Pilate was the governor of Jerusalem area, because the Romans did occupy this area back in the biblical times. But now that that is constructed, it's time to build the part where Jesus has to carry his own cross to the execution site, which is the hill of Golgotha. I don't know. I don't think I'm saying that right. But anyways, now we're building the iconic, 3 crosses. This is the part where Jesus is actually, hung on the cross and dies. There are 2 other people that were executed with him as well. So I built those people there as well. And now what we're going to do is we're going to build the burial. So right after Jesus died, all the people, they wrapped up his body, they took him to the empty tomb, and there was a large procession of people, that carried him to his burial site, which is, of course, the tomb. So as you can see, all the disciples went, you had his, Joseph and Mary went, So I built all that in that scene right there, and I am going to add in a few more trees around here as well. And now it's time to build the empty tomb. So this part is Easter Sunday right here, what I am building. So I build the iconic, tombstone rolled away with the empty tomb. There is an angel inside of the tomb, and then you have the women that go to the tomb in the morning to see that Jesus is indeed alive, and the Roman soldiers fallen on the ground after the earthquake shook away the tomb. So I am going to add some more trees around that. There are two separate tombs that I built for this. In real life it's the same tomb, but for the scenes I had to build two different ones. Anyways, now what we're doing is we are building where Jesus meets the disciples, and then 30 days later, it's either 30 or 40 days later, where Jesus ascends back into heaven for good until he comes again. But anyways, now what I'm going to do is build, just a thing at the beginning where it's kind of an introduction as to who each character is. I think that was very helpful in the map. Because, someone looking through this is going to need to know what each character is, who each character is. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a railroad. So this is the first map in Block X4 North that is transformed, where there's actually a railway system. So this railway system will lead you to each scene, and then the minecart will stop at each, scene so that you can get out and read about it. And of course at each stop there is a lectern where you can read, the passage about what actually is happening and what is actually going on in this scene. There's also signs that'll tell you, what is going on in each scene. And at the beginning, I also added a timeline feature, so you can look at that timeline book and see when each of these events is actually happening. But here we are at the showcase. We're going to fly through the village here. This is Palm Sunday at the beginning. So we're going to fly through Jerusalem here, with all the people showing their palms, claiming Jesus as their king. And then what we're going to see here is where the chief priest bribed Judas. And then we're going to fly through the house where Jesus is washing the servants' feet. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fly through the house or building where the Last Supper was held right here. Going to continue going to Jesus praying in the garden. The disciples can't stay awake. Going to go out here to where Jesus is arrested, where Peter denies Jesus, and where Pilate orders the execution. Then we're going to fly through where you can see Jesus carrying his cross up to the hill. And then this part up here is where Jesus was actually, died on the cross. And then we're going to fly through here to the burial scene right here. The burial scene is actually one of my favorite ones to build. I really enjoyed building this burial scene. And then we're going to fly, through the tomb to the other tomb in the Minecraft world where, you can see Jesus rose again from the dead. The tombstone is rolled away. The soldiers are on the ground. The angel, is standing inside the tomb. We really want to emphasize, that scene there. And then this is where Jesus meets the disciples, and finally the ascension here. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to just fly up, and I'm going to give you a brief aerial view before we end the video. Just as an FYI, this map is available on my Patreon. However, I really don't feel like people should have to pay for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this map free from Maundy Thursday all the way through Easter Sunday. So if you want to get the map for free, download it in one of those 4 days. But anyways, this is just the entire village itself. I really like the way this map turned out, and this is my first map that actually tells a story. So I really hope that you will enjoy it. But anyways, that is about it.